Indawo ayisekho maye maye indawo ayisekho maye indawo ayisekho maye indawo ayisekho. Ikhona indawo emthimbeni omkhulu ebukhosini bukaNkulunkulu ngena indawo isekhona sekuntambama seliyakushona angamathunzi asemade wona ngena indawo isekhona indlu yomthimba isivunuliwe isiyagcwala ngena zidisiwa uthando luka baba
Good evening. It's time for us to begin, and we'd like to welcome you all to our midweek study, where we are going to be continue with the study that has been started by Tsepo, and when we are dealing with the family matters. On that aspect of family matters as well, and I'm going to be dealing with the topic on vision for the family, or family vision. But before we go on there, we are going to go to our Heavenly Father in prayer, and so that we can start. And after we have started, we are going to make sure that we do complete on time. Without wasting time, let us go to our Heavenly Father in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we come before you this evening. We thank you for the opportunity and the time that we can come and learn from your word. We know that your word is truth, and there is nothing that we can do without you. But when you are there, everything is possible. We trust in you, O Lord, asking you to be with us this evening as we continue to study. And we know there are many truths that are hidden in your word, And as we unravel them and as we look at them, we get even more wiser because you are the God of wisdom and you know everything. We are praying for all this in your Son's name. Amen. For the past 3 weeks, the study has been dealing with the issues of the family. And there are several topics were addressed in that particular subject. And I'm going to be continuing with it, but wrapping up the series that was being done by Chapel. And we are going to be talking about the vision for the family, or family vision, you can put it in that particular context. But before I do that, I think I need to share with you, or to just conscientize you on the aspect of the lifespan or the life cycle of a family. You see, anywhere living here on earth, each life has got a span. We have got the beginning and we come to the end point of our life, when we are born and until we die. But there is a critical phase in our lives where we start to have a relationship, where a male and a female will get together. And the Bible says that therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and shall cling to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. My discussion is going to be starting from where now the two are now one. And also this aspect of family vision, by the way, it does not really apply only to families. It can also apply in other situations as well. So don't say that you are being left off. You know, you are also being included in that. Most people, in general, they marry, maybe sometimes even younger, but they will marry between the ages of maybe 25 and 35. That's nowadays, that's like the common trend. People will be marrying between the age of 25 and 35. Of course, some will marry a bit early or get married a bit younger. That's no problem. And some maybe get married a bit later in their lives, over 35, even close to 40. That's not a problem. Here, what I'm talking about is that the average, where an average person will get married, it will be in the age of between, say, 25 and 35. And on average, you know, you find that if you go to arithmetics and we do and find an average, so we can say most people get married around the age of 30, you see. And just think of yourself. You are getting married at the end of age of 30, and then you have 35 more years of your working life, and then you retire, because 30 plus 35 is 65, retirement age. Retire, in some companies will be less. Or if you're married at the age of 25, you know, you will have at least 40 years of working, and then until you retire. So that is the area, those are the years that you have when you are still working, okay? And then you need to look at other factors as well, you see. And then what happens when you retire? You're going to stay at home, still with your spouse. And our life expectancy in South Africa, as I was checking up, is not looking good, by the way. Our life expectancy for South African on average is about 62 years. That's it. Most South Africans on average, they die at the age of 62. But if you're looking for people who are Christians, who are looking after themselves, health-wise, they are not intoxicating their bodies, life expectancy will be a bit more, you know. And the life expectancy in the country like America is about 77 years, you see. So ours is not doing good. Oh, there are a lot of other aspects that are affecting our communities as well. So for Christians, we expect, you know, reasonably the life expectancy to go about 80 years, 85 years, you know, if the Lord blesses you, even going beyond that, You see? So now what happens? You get married at around the age of 30. You are working for 35 years. And after you've worked for 35 years, you retire. You're at the age of 65. And then we add only 20 years on top of that, you know, and that you come to age of 85. And then by that time, most of the people will be leaving the earth and going to their Father in heaven. In other words, will die. So the window period that we are talking about for a person who's married and living, we are talking about on average about maybe 45 to 50 years, you see. And we need to be looking at that what is your vision for a family for this period of 50 years where you are starting to work and then until you finish working and then when you retire. What is your vision? What is your vision for the family in that time? Okay, maybe before I go on there, you know, to even define what the vision is all about, you know, I need to just outline some of the activities that happens to you. What happens now when you've got married? The activities. You know, you've got lifespan about 50 years after marriage until you die. On average, you might live more, 55 or 60. I've seen people who live up to 60 years after they got married. Good, you know, but we're talking average here, you know, no offense, we're talking average here, you know. Okay, what do? As I grew up, I get married, not so. And when I get married, what happened? What is my first things that I like to do? Generally, I like to have a shelter. Where am I going to stay? A house. And what is going to happen next? I'm going to have children. If the Lord blesses me, I got children. And what happens next? I need to see that the children are educated, are sent to school so that they are equipped, so that they can face the challenges of the life. Good. What about the extended families that I do have? You know, I'm not living alone, I live with other people, okay? And they may not be as fortunate as I am. How do I deal with them? Okay? And obviously, if I'm a person who has got parents, you know, my parents are not getting any young anymore. They're getting old, you know. And when they are old, they cannot do certain things for themselves. They need attention. So I need to think about that, I need to look after the aging parents as well, you know. And also for myself and for yourself, I need to be providing for the future. That is for retirement, you know. And also, one thing that I've just left it deliberately, you know, here. I'll talk about it later. You know, there will be other unexpected events in your life, like health issues. What about them? You know, you might find that now you're starting to have some health issues that come up when you're old, okay? And you face some losses as well. Losses of properties, losses of certain things, and even death. But there's one thing that I've left behind, deliberately so. You also need to go to heaven also. Actually, that's your fundamental purpose. When you're living here on earth, you're preparing yourself to go to heaven. Because you're not going to live here forever. You know? I gave you the window period that after marriage, maybe about 50 years. Within that 50 years, you need to be preparing yourself that you are going to go to heaven as well. This information that we have here, based on the lifespan that we have, based on the activities, common activities that are going to take place within our lives, they demand that we need to have a vision for our families. They demand that we need to have a vision for our family. What are we talking about when you're talking about a vision? When you talk about vision, you're talking about the direction or the final goal of where you want to be as a family. Somebody can say, my vision is that I can work and become a general manager of a company. That's the vision for that particular person. And the other one says, I want to work and retire, you know, having X amount of money. That's a vision for that particular person. You see, we are not talking about the vision for a person per se. We are now talking about a vision for the family. What is the vision? Where do you want to see your family be? Where do you want it to go in future? You see, that is very important for you. Let me share a story. I might have told you this story many times ago. Dick, I forgot the surname of this gentleman. He wrote in his book of a gentleman who was lost in a game reserve, and he did not know where he was going. This guy, he was lost, and the ranger came to him and say, who are you and where are you going? Who are you and where are you going? After they had a discussion with this the gentleman for some time, and they decided that this gentleman who was lost decided to hire this guy. With the ranger says, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to offer you a job. And he gave him an offer that he could not refuse. He says, one of the things that I want you to do is to come to my office every morning and ask me the same questions that you asked me there at the game reserve. Who are you and where are you going? What the gentleman was saying was that, who are you, say, in your business? What is the vision for your business? Where is this business going? Vision. So what is the vision of your family? Where is this family that you are heading you? Everything okay? They cannot just live where they don't know where they are going. I think that's something that we need to be looking at, all the time. We need to be checking that, and we need to make sure that everything is working very well for ourselves. Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay. If we look in the book of Proverbs chapter 29, verse number 18, what does it say? It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. I'm reading there from the King James Version, the old one, KJV. I prefer the New American Standard for this one. It says, where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained. That is, where there is no vision, where there is no direction, people are just going through the motion. They are unrestrained. They don't even know where they are going. There are no limits. There's no focus. They're just doing things. What do I mean? They're just surprised that the child has passed matric and then needs to go to a college. And they don't know what to do. They're just surprised that their child is just pregnant. They don't know about things. They're very much surprised. They're just surprised that, the son is on drugs. They don't know about it. They're just surprised that, they don't have money at the end of the month. They don't know about these things. They're just surprised that they don't have enough money to pay for electricity. No, they don't know. They're just going through because there is no direction in that family. They're just surprised that the children are failing at school. They know, why are you failing? It means you don't study. They're surprised by these things because they're just going through the motions, And that is why the book of Proverbs there, it says, where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained. They are not restrained. You see? And when they are unrestrained, they just go everywhere. Which means that is something wrong. There's something wrong, So when you look at the vision statement that we need to have as a families, the vision statement must actually define the desired future. We need to be able to define our desired future. Where are we going as a family? Where are we going as a family? And normally when people talk about visions, in businesses and other organizations, they will talk about visions. Where are we going? What is it that we want to see in the future? And they'll also talk about the mission statement. So you'll find that you've got a vision, and then you also have a mission statement, so to speak. You see, a mission statement, it outlines, the family or the organization purpose and how it will achieve this future. You know, the vision tells us what is going to happen in the future. The statement, how we're going to go about doing these things, how we're going to achieve what we want to achieve. Let's suppose you say you want to have children that are disciplined, you know, and how to achieve that. One of the things that you can put in as a mission statement in the house is that every child, when you go outside to play outside, by 6 o'clock you must be back at home. Discipline. You see, you know, you are putting things in your mission statement, the things that needs to help you so that you can have discipline in the home. You see, so we need to have those kind of things in our minds, and the things that we need to direct that. You see. As I want to repeat, just to emphasize, you know, the other one tells us where we are going, and the other one is telling us what road do we need to travel. You understand? Where are we going? Cape Town. What road do we need to travel? The mission. You know, I'm going to go by road, or am I going to go to Durban? And when I go to Durban, I get into the ship and I go by boat, go to Cape Town. That's another way. Or I'm going to go by train, or I'm going to fly, or I'm going to try and go with a bike, or a bicycle, whatever. Or I'm going to walk for about 7 months. You know, it depends, you see. Which road I'm going to take. What is the direction that you want to have for your family, you see. And when you are doing that, when you are putting the vision for their family, you must remember that the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and everything, there is a time, there is a season for everything. Some of the things you are not going to be doing at any other time. You must remember that there's times for everything. There's times to learn, and there is times to weep, there is time to study, there's time, it goes within a time. So you need to be putting all these minds together and plan for the future and make sure that your family goes well. That is what we want to see happening if you are a man of vision, deciding where are we going, where do we want to be, and how are we going to arrive there. You know, how are we going to arrive there? The unfortunate part is that most families do not have the vision. That's the most unfortunate part. Most families don't have a vision. You know, they just take it as it comes. And unfortunately, some of the people know the things that needs to happen. They know what needs to happen. They know what needs to be done. And there are steps that are around area there that, you know, in a family, you know, you have to have children. When you're having children, they need to go to school. They know those things. But you don't have a vision of how these things are going to manifest themselves going forward. You see, when you don't sit down and think ahead, you put yourself in a very, very dangerous situation. You put yourself in a very, very dangerous situation as a family, you know. And I've observed and I've seen a lot of people, you know, who don't sit down and think ahead about their families. I want to mention this and I want to repeat it again, you know. The other day I was listening to 702 radio, and it was just after the matric results had come out, and Wongani Bingwa was saying that some kid got 8 distinctions, some got 9 distinctions, and a couple of children they got 9 distinctions. And the comment from this commentator was that I can tell you, for those distinctions to happen, there has been a heavy involvement of the families behind the scene, making sure that the vision that they have for the child to be successful is achieved. And they were involved in that, saying that if you want to do this course, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and then there is a must that you need to do this subject. They had a vision for that particular child, you see. And when the child is struggling, they are able to go and assist immediately because they can see, they want to see where the child is. You see. See to the marriage situation, marriage needs some work on it. You cannot have marriage and you don't work on your marriage. And if you don't work on your marriage, that marriage is going to fail, unfortunately. You see. There are responsibilities that the husband must do, and there are responsibilities that the wife must do. And both these two people, they need to put in effort. They need to sit down as husband and wife, and they look at the vision for the future for their marriage. I'm not talking about children. The future, how are we going to go to the future ourselves? What is it that we want to see in the future? You see. And because where there is a future that has been put there and there's a goal that has been placed there, what happens? We work on it. We put effort so that we can reach those goals. Visions, very, very important. We cannot just allow things to go pear-shaped and not work, you see. You find that because people don't have a vision, in some families it's so bad. Children are not being educated. And if you read in the book of Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 says, train up a child in the way that he should go. But you must walk the same way before. But you as a family, because you don't have that vision, you don't look at the goals that the children must have, and you must achieve. You just neglect it. What about teenage pregnancy, and drug abuse? You must ask yourself, where did we fail? Was it your vision as a family to say, my child, before they get to matric, they must have a baby? Maybe. Some families. Was it your vision that you want to say, maybe before my child is in grade 5 or grade 10, they must be on drugs already? Yes, for some families like that. Hello? For some families, it's like that. They want their children to start smoking when they're age 4. I was listening to the radio now, 702 just now. A family there in Nuclear there next to us in Soweto there. Next to Raina Musa Hospital there, the family there, they were letting the child 5 years old to take drugs, and while they were filming, and then it went to TikTok, and then the video went viral, and then the police had to arrest the people. Those are the family who have got the vision that we are going to do drugs, and therefore our children are also going to do drugs. How do you like that? For a family to do that? You see, some people are doing that. You see, where there is no provision for future, you can't just live where there's no provision for the future. It means that there's no vision in that family. You see, I've already talked that when marriages are being neglected, you cannot happen that. We can't allow that to happen. What am I talking about here? I'm saying that we as children of God, we must sit down and have a vision for our future, goal for the future, for our families. As we do in our businesses, we do that. As we do in the schools and the government, they do that. We need to have visions and goals for our families. Know where they're going. The anti-apartheid lawyer, he has passed on now, George Bizos. George Bizos is a Greek. He's of Greek origin. While there was a war, during the Second World War, and he found himself being protected by the soldiers and escaping the Nazis, the Germans. And to cut the long story short, he found himself in South Africa. Very young boy. And he could not speak English or Afrikaans. And he was not even being welcomed at the schools. And he stayed for about 2 years, I'm told, without even going to school. And he eventually went to school, this George Bezos. And when he went to school, he graduated, and he did the law degree together with Nelson Mandela, and they became friends with Nelson Mandela there. And thereafter, obviously Mandela was arrested. He was practicing as a human rights lawyer. A guy who had left Greece and come in here, he had a strong belief of the importance of this Hellenist culture, the Greek culture, and philosophy and values. And he wanted his children and the family to embrace those values. And then he realized that this vision that he has got to make sure that this culture of Greek, this culture of philosophy and the values that he had, is not only sitting on himself only. He wanted to share it with other people. Hence, he was very much instrumental at the starting of the Saheti school that is there around, just around, not Edenvale, just around Bedford. I'll say Gilulus Interchange, somewhere there, is there. And this school is promoting these values that he had. He shared these values as a vision for the family, and he shared these values so that he can expand them, these values. That was the vision of this man. Obviously, his children were all educated, and they were doing well. You see, somebody who came from far came in here with nothing, but because he has got a vision for his family to make sure that they maintain their culture while they are being educated, and he wanted to make sure that it expands also and go to the other communities there. And Saheti is one of the top performing schools, by the way. They pass 100% every year. Although it's not cheap, but they do. They had a vision. They wanted to see things happening. The other person, I mentioned this person in the morning, in one of the morning, is a J.D. Rockefeller. He had a vision for the family. His family, this gentleman. He was a rich man, this guy. He is the one who started Standard Oil in America. It's a strong business. He was like a monopoly in the oil industry, and he had a lot of money. And they had a vision for his family, which was in different levels. He was not really looking at them that these grandchildren must have wealth. He had a vision that when he died, his children must have wealth, But he also wanted that as a family, his family, they must be engaged in philanthropy. There must be people who give also others, And then there must be people who build the legacy of him, that whatever he stood for can stay and happening for the rest, for many, many years to come. More than 70, 80, 75 years after Rockefeller has died, all right? Guess what happened? They started a foundation called the Rockefeller Foundation. The children are involved in the vision that they had. What do? They save the money. They put the money there that the father had, $6 billion. The children, even today, some of them are dead. They are the grandchildren are still looking after that foundation. They still have $6 billion, and it distributes about $500 million every year to charities and do the other one. That's the vision that the family had. But you know that I'm talking about big guns in here. You must say, Ramagwede, what are you talking about? We are not going to be achieving that. Really? George Bezos came to South Africa, running from the war, couldn't even get to school. He had to wait for 2 years. And then he managed to, but he had vision. You see? Starting from nothing. Only where there is vision, there's direction. You can go somewhere. And where there is no vision, the Bible tells us, people what? Perish, or they go unrestricted. They waste their energy. You know. What must we do? What is it that is of value to us? You know, when you have to, when you are going to put in a vision, you need to be people who have got something that is of value. I think our sister Nelisiwe says having a family vision is very crucial in the sense that it provides guidance, unity, growth, and brighter future. Thank you, amen, my sister there, you know. That is why it's very important to have a vision so that we can have guidance on knowing where to do it, you know. But if you are going to design or devise a vision for yourself and the family, there are some things that you need to look at that is of value. What is of value to you? For some people, it can be money. They say, oh, money is of value to me. And some people say, I want to be rich. Some people say, oh, what is good for, what is of value for me is that I want to work and then I want to go on holidays. Oh, some people say, okay, I want to make sure that when I have got something, some funds, I can donate more to charity. Or maybe I'm a person who can create jobs for other people. Or I need to have house. Or I need to share Jesus with others. My vision, serve the Lord. Okay? Or I want to be a person who's building a mighty force for God. You know? I want to make a difference in people's life. You know? What is your vision of the family? What will you think is the most people of value that needs to be in your vision for the family going forward? I'm going to give it to you so that we can talk about it. You know, what is it that you can say is of value, that is important, that it has to be part of the vision for your family, goal for your family? I'm giving it up to you. If you want to talk, talk. You can write there on the Facebook there, and then we are going to be able to discuss that. You see, that's something that we need to be looking at. Look at where your family is going. Where do you want it to go? We talked about failure the other day in a lesson on a sermon, and we talked about learning from the mistakes of failure, and you know, we highlighted a few things there. And this past Sunday we were talking about how to recover from failure. And I know most of you in your families, you may not be sitting down and setting up goals for the family. And I think it's time for you to repent today and say things must change, must stop. And I need to walk on a new way here. I need to walk on a new direction. You know, when I walk in a new direction, I need to achieve certain things for my family. You know, sit down and say, I'm looking at myself. Just giving some guidelines, vision for the family. Say, okay, I'm looking at myself. Spiritually, where are we going to be as a family? Both myself and my children, my wife, both of us, where are we going to be spiritually? Where are we going to be in terms of education? Where are we going to be in terms of relationship with other members of the family? You know, where are we going to be in relationship with the community where we serve? You know, these things must be guided by you, and they need to form part of the vision. You see, and you need to take time to outline this vision, please. You know, Remember Joshua, the Joshua chapter 24, when he saw that the children of Israel, and he looked at what they were doing, he says, if serving God, let's just go there maybe very quickly, so that we don't just talk about it, Like when he says a family without vision is a family that is lost, you see. When you don't have a direction, it's like that guy that I talked about, and he was lost, that guy. And he was asked, okay, let me go to verse number 14 of Joshua 24. Now fear the Lord and serve him okay, let me see. Let me check here. Okay. Where am I now? Throw away the gods your forefathers worshipped beyond the river of in Egypt, and serve the Lord. Verse number 14. Verse number 15. But Joshua 24, verse number 14 and 15 and 16, and I'll talk about 14 and 15. But if serving the Lord seem undesirable to you, then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods your forefathers served beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Joshua asked a pertinent question there. He says, I'm seeing that you are living as people who don't have direction, as people who don't have a vision. He says, if serving God is not for you, what is happening to you? Or do you want to serve the gods, their forefathers, and worship there beyond the river of Ephraim? Or the gods of the Amorites that are here? And I want to tell you today that my direction and vision for myself and the family is to serve the Lord. What Joshua was telling us, he says, hey, my vision for myself and the family is that we are going to look at the Lord only. That's our vision. And we are going to serve him. That's our vision. Unfortunately, with most people, that is not their vision. Their vision is to look at elsewhere. Alright? And to look at other activities beyond God. Okay? And to prioritize other things but God. You see? Brothers and sisters, it's not an accident that you can miss church every week. And see that nothing is wrong. It's just because the Lord, your God, is not of value to you. It doesn't form part of your vision, number one, the main goal. You don't value that much, you see. And because you don't value that much, it doesn't make any difference with you. You see, you can miss church, you can come late to church, you cannot even participate on the work of the Lord, you can have all other excuses and it's blame this and that. It's just because your vision is not, you don't take the Lord as being the Lord of value, you are looking at other things but God. Align yourself and have a proper vision. That is what you need to have. You see. Vision, of course, Paul says that is what guides your steps. You see, we need to be able to have vision because it will guide our steps, which is our mission as we talk about that. Okay. I want you to look at Abraham. Abraham was a man of vision as well. He was told by God, he says, leave the land that you are living on. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you to a land. I want you to leave this land. I'm going to take you to a land of Canaan. The land that I'm going to show you. And by faith, the Bible says, Abraham stood up. What was his vision? The vision that he was given by the Lord, that the Lord is going to show him the land that he needs to go to. You see? And then Abraham, by faith, he stood up. He says, that is the land that I want to go to because God has shown it to me. And he stood up. I mean, there are so many things that God is showing you, people. We read the Bible every day. We study the Bible every day. You can look at the things that are written in the Bible. You can look at how you need to create, to formulate a vision for your family. You see, in the way in which the family is fearing God, you can do that. You see, you don't need for some kind of a whispering on your ear to come to you. God has given it to us in the Bible. We can just look and make sure that we create a vision for our families based on the scriptures, based on what God tells us about the families. Look at Abraham. Because he was a man of vision. And now he was busy implementing the vision that God has given him to go and make him a great nation. One of the things that Abraham was given was, I'm going to make a great nation. You see? Shuru says a family with a vision talks with one voice. Of course, when you have vision, you are aligned together. All everybody, one of the things that maybe before I go, I just mention to, it's always proper to state the vision of the family when you are sitting together as a family. And say, people, these are the things that we need to do. This is the direction that we need to take. Because we need to take this direction, we expect 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's align all of us and we move in one accord. That's our goal. That's what we need to do. And therefore, when you speak, you're not going to speak pulling in different direction. You're going to speak on one voice. Thank you there, Chudu, for that comment. Let's go to Genesis chapter 24. Now Abraham was old, advanced in age, and the Lord has blessed Abraham in every way because he was a man of vision. He was doing what God wanted. You see, the Lord was here with him all the time. What did he say? I'm reading Genesis chapter 24. Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his household, who was in charge of all what is own, place your hand under my thigh, and I will make you say by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites who lives amongst us, but you'll go to my country and to my relatives and take a wife for my son Isaac there. Get it? Abraham was told that he is going to be made a great nation. That's the vision. Abraham knows that he needs to have from him, a great nation is going to come. That's the vision. All right? So he is preparing that. And it's going to come from Isaac. He says, I need to make sure that this vision that the Lord has given to me is get carried out properly. Okay, Eliezer, that is the master of Abraham, yeah? I want you to do this for me. I'm old. But my vision that I have cannot be derailed because I'm old. Don't get a wife for my son from the ladies here around the Canaanites. They are bad news. That's what Abraham was saying. I want you to go where I come from my relatives. Get someone like me so that we can make this vision become true. Obviously, Eliezer did that. He was asking questions to Abraham. He said, what if this lady doesn't want to come? He said, no. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You see, if he's not willing, then you can stop it. But that was the vision. You see. And also, when Esau was having a child, 2 boys, and what are the names of the boys? It was Isaac was having the sons, Esau and Jacob. What happened to Esau? Esau got married to the Canaanite women. If you read in the book of Genesis chapter 26, verse number 34, when Esau was 40 years of old, he married Judith, the daughter of Beerti the Hittite, and Basemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they brought grief to Isaac and Ruth and Rebekah. These people, they brought a lot of problems to Isaac and Rebekah. He says, no. These people cannot align ourselves with the vision of God. These ones, they cannot align ourselves with the vision of God. Let's look at 27 verse number 46. Rebekah said to Isaac, I am tired of living because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife from the daughters of Heth, like these from the daughters of the land, what good will my life be? Rebekah said, we better be careful. If our vision that we have for a great nation, if it's going to come from the daughters here with Jacob, it's not going to happen. We need to get the wife somewhere for Jacob. You see, these are people with visions for their families. You know, they're even thinking ahead that my son must get married properly. My son must get a child that is decent. My daughter must get a husband that is like that. Like that. I mean, you can't go and look for a wife at a tavern. I've seen people say, where did you find this lady that you at a tavern? I said, now why are you crying? Well, no, she's not fair to me. Where did you find her? At a tavern. What do you expect? You see? Was that your vision? Be careful, be careful, be careful. Let's look at another example in the Bible of a family that had a vision. There was a by the name Job. There in the book of Job, chapter number 1, and he was a man who feared God. And because he was a man who feared God, he had a good vision for the family. He loved his family. He was wealthy, this guy. God was with him. And he wanted to make sure that things are going well, even for his family, even for his children there. Go to verse number 4. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day. And they will send an invite to their 3 sisters and eat and drink with them. Can you see what was happening in this family? This family was united. Okay? The vision for the family was that it was a family that was united. Who built this family to be like that? Job, because he wanted this family to be okay, to be united, to be one. We need to build that as families to make sure that our families are united, not pulling in different directions, And I'm telling you, these things that I'm talking about, they are not going to happen by accident. You have to work on them. You have to make sure that you invest in your family and make sure that you work together. You don't pull in different direction. And somebody must sit down and have a vision and say, look, we're having this that is going to take place. What is it that we can do? You sit together and be united and do things together. Not pull in different direction. Children of Job, when they have a party, they call one another. They're united. They've got one purpose. They've got one goal that we are going to celebrate together. Togetherness was their mission here. That's the vision that the family had here, that they are going to work together. When the days of feasting had completed their cycle, Job will send and consecrate them, rising up early in the morning and offering burnt offering according to the number of them all. For Job said, perhaps my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Job did this continually. Can you see what this parent was doing? He says, I know I've allowed them that they can enjoy. And maybe in their enjoyment, that's a vision of the family. Maybe in their enjoyment, somebody might make mistake. Because we're human, sometimes we make mistakes. Let us make sure that we correct those mistakes. This is the good vision that Job had. Go and enjoy yourself. Don't go over the boundary. Number 1. And after you've gone, if maybe you have gone after the boundary, we also need to go and worship God and thank God who has made it possible for us. Oh, people go and enjoy themselves. And when they enjoy themselves, you know that you are not enjoying yourself properly because you're getting intoxicated. Okay? Do you ask God to give you guidance on that? Hello? Let's be serious and align our visions properly as families there. One gentleman that I want to talk about is Zacchaeus. In the book of Luke, chapter number 19, when Jesus saw Zacchaeus climbing, when Zacchaeus saw Jesus coming, he climbed a sycamore tree. You know that Zacchaeus was a tax collector, and the tax collectors were more than thieves, And then Jesus went to the house of Zacchaeus. After he went in the house of Zacchaeus, and Zacchaeus was now a great man. Let's go to Luke 19. Zacchaeus, come down immediately. Jesus called him. Verse number 5. I must stay in your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. That is, Jesus went to the house of Zacchaeus. And all the people saw this and they began to mutter. They began to gossip. Oh, if he has gone to the guest of a sinner, why, he's a tax collector. Tax collectors are thieves. But look, listen to the new vision of Zacchaeus. Yeah, look. Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possession to the poor. He says, I've accepted you. I'm putting a vision for myself that the possession that I have, half is going to go to the poor. If I get possessions, I'm going to give half to the poor. That was a great vision, this one. If I've robbed anybody, I'm going to pay back 4 times. Great vision. He was putting up a great vision for himself here, Zacchaeus. He said, whenever I get, half I'm going to give to the poor. And if I've cheated someone, and you can show me that I've cheated you, I'm going to pay you 4 times. That's a great vision. That I'm going to live right straight, following the Lord. And obviously I think that he was saying this so that it can happen to his family also, so that the family can understand what he's talking about. Let's go quickly to the other one. Okay. Let's go to the book of, my goodness. Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 10. I thought the time was too short. It was too long, but now it's short, It says, in Caesarea there was a man named Cornelius, a centurion of the Italian court, as it was called. He was a devout man who feared God with all his household. Can you see that? A devout man. All right, what did he do? He feared God. With who? With all his household. Cornelius had a vision for his family that here in this house we are going to fear the Lord. All of us. That's a vision. And we are going to do it. And they were doing it. It was their vision of fearing the Lord. And what did they do? He gave alms generously, and we are going to give generously to the people. And then what are we going to do? We are going to pray constantly to God. That is a great vision that I want to leave you with you today. That we must have those kind of visions. People like the house of Cornelius, who are devout, who fear God, and who give generously, and who pray constantly. These are some of the visions that we need to have. What is my message today? Sit down as a family. Look at what is of value to you. Obviously, God is of value for you. And formulate the vision, the goal where you want your family to go. It has to start with God. It's a must. If it exclude God, it's bound to fail. That vision, I can guarantee you. God must be in the picture on that. Okay? You can have a vision that we are going to love God and we are going to love one another unconditionally, and we are going to communicate openly and grow together and support one another. It can be a vision for the family. You see, we can say we're going to have a vision where we're going to honor God. We are going to create a safe and a nurturing environment in our home that prioritize open communication also, and mutual respect for one another, and shared responsibility, fearing God. You can say as a family we're going to fear God, and we pledge to encourage personal growth, and foster culture of kindness, and actively contribute to our community, fearing God, and do the work of the Lord. You see, all the time. These are the visions that you can put yourself as a family. You see, you can say, in this family, we fear God, and we aim to build family that prioritize love, support, respect, and open communication, nurturing personal growth, and have strong bonds so that we can be effective in the communities that we live. Vision. Let us sit down. Things don't just happen by accident. Things have to be done purposefully, planned with a vision in mind. If you are just going through the motion, you are not going to go anywhere. I want to conclude, brothers and sisters, by going back to the book of Proverbs, chapter number 29, that we read, and verse number 18. I want us to go back to that one so that we can be aligned. It says, where there is no vision, the people are unrestrained. Where you don't have a vision, there's no limits for you. You just go there and there and there and there. Because now you are a jack of all trades, what does it say? You are a master of none. You'll find that at the end of the time, on your 50 years when you're living on earth here, you have achieved nothing. Get back, sit down, plan the vision, have the direction where you're going to go as a family, and work on that, putting God first. Then you have a direction, and all the things are going to work well for you. And eventually, when you follow the direction, you're going to see heaven. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need to stop here. I need to stop here so that we can conclude this. There are a number of people, if I just some announcement before we close with the word of prayer. There are a number of people that have been announced that are not well in our congregation, and then we need to remember them in our prayers all the time. People are struggling, they are in hospital, and we need to remember them in our prayers. We mentioned some have been discharged from the hospital. Miss Netangai Nishtangani, Ruyengo Nishtangani, she has been discharged from the hospital. My brother also recovering from home, and the others who are not well, suffering from flu that have been announced. We need to remember them in our prayers. And also, on a sad note, my aunt that I usually announce that she was not well, she fell and then she was taken to Helen Joseph. She was really struggling, and unfortunately she passed on this morning. And the grandchildren there, they are in our Sunday school class, Tikezo and Kutazo. They are in our Sunday school there in the church. Chitabani, I think they are the grandchildren. So they've lost their grandmother there. So please really to pray for the family in that regard. So without wasting time, let us go to Heavenly Father in prayer and pray for the family and Make sure that Sunday at church we start at 10 o'clock. Please, people, we start at 10 o'clock. Let's attend at 10 o'clock. Let's not be late. Let's arrive on time, please. And those who are doing the cell groups that are running tomorrow, please make sure that you do join the cell group tomorrow, 7 o'clock evening. Some of the cell groups are running tomorrow. Maybe in the cell group, before I pray, there's a question that talks about people that God has given them a second chance. Okay, let me just explain that properly. When we talk about second chance, we are saying that when you repent and become a Christian, that's your first chance. We are talking about people who were there already being children of God and they messed up again and God picked them up again. That's a second chance. Are we together? You know, I had some people who were really taking the first chance as the second chance. This question is specifically to look at people who were already children of God, you know, and then they messed up and then God gave them another chance. That's the second chance that we are talking about. You see, so please let us not forget that. Okay, without wasting time, let us go to Heavenly Father in prayer. Father in heaven, we come before you this evening. We thank you for the opportunity. We thank you for the time that we can come and study your word. We ask you to give us all the courage and all the power so that we can continue to do your will. We know, Lord, there are a number of our members that are not well, and we solicit our prayers to you. We ask you to give us all the courage and all the power
wapunguka usubu ya mchana gena indawo isekhona nampapa says mi bakuqhweba asinga yebo nabo bayakeba gena indawo isekhona osatelayo maye uzokhala usivulele ngosiyokwala maye indawo ayisekho osatelayo maye uzokhala usivulele ngosiyokwala maye indawo ayisekho maye indawo ayisekho maye indawo ayisekho maye indawo ayisekho. Ikhona indawo emthimbeni omkhulu ebukhosini bukaNkulunkulu ngena iselwe alwaze lwangedlula ngasezwa izwi lakho wangixosha ngaphulile wangibeka ehlombe lakho yekuthanda olungaka ngingathini ngalo uyoyo endinyaka wangina